Hey all, welcome to ShareTreck. Today is the 25th of February 2022. My idea is that I'm going to record all the news articles first, and then I'll come back again after market open and then start recording the technical analysis portion. So let's get started with today's session. So the first news article is clinical trial begins for promising HIV cure developed by Temple scientists. And in this particular article, you are seeing the picture of Kemal Khalili, who is the co-founder of VXN Biotherapeutics, who had worked with other microbiologists at Temple's Cat School of Medicine to demonstrate therapy's potential for removing HIV components from human cells and cells of humanized mice. So now, VXN Biotherapeutics will conduct and oversee a clinical trial for the same treatment with a $60 million grant that they have got, and they're going to test their EBT-101 therapy as a one-time curative treatment for HIV. So that's the news article. I'm going to put this link in our description below. Please go and have a look at it. It's really exciting to see these developments. The next article I have lined up for you is coming from Dark Daily. It talks about University of Maryland scientists developing CRISPR Act 3.0, which is the name they have given to this kit for multiplex gene activation in plants. So by multiplex, they mean that presently you're not able to activate 7 genes at once in a given plant. Their kit is able to do that, which means a much more accelerated pace of performing CRISPR edits on plants. So that's the positive news out here. Again, I have put the link in the description. You can go and have a look at it. The next news item is a very important one. Scientists take a key step towards unraveling the genetic roots of ALS in a pair of studies. So this particular treatment was anticipated because when we started the genomic studies, the objective was to identify genetic mutation and correlate them to inherited diseases. And ALS is one of them. And the exciting thing is to see that it's happening very quickly. And if you just scan around the environment of CRISPR technology, all the research and efforts going on, we are tackling HIV, as you saw in the article before, which was a kind of a death sentence for people mostly. And now we are in a position to work on that. We also are looking at heart diseases getting sorted in a way that right now all our therapies are in terms of controlling and managing the condition. But with CRISPR, we are looking at a situation where things could be much better, like inhibiting cholesterol through genetic modification and repairing the genes, those kind of things. Then we also saw the efforts that are being put into place to edit liver cells in order to control abnormal protein formation. So all those things are happening, and now ALS, which was again a very, very big challenge, is also being tackled. And this is all happening simultaneously at multiple labs. So it's almost akin to discovery of fire by humans. Once we discovered fire, that was a revolution. Then we discovered the wheel, there was another revolution. Then the steam engine, and so on and so forth. So I think CRISPR is taking us to the cusp of a new revolution. And if you look at the price of CRISPR shares, they're at rock bottom. So that's the significance of all these news articles. When all the noise and dust of all these interest rate hikes, the Ukraine conflict and everything dies down, people will start realizing what kind of benefits this technology is giving in. And that's the time when all these stocks are going to take a big leap forward. So that's my 2 cents on it. Now, I have also got another news article. I'm going to put the link in the description. I'm not going to read it out here. It's also again from Stats News. So without further ado, let me roll the tape. I've just given a small snippet. You can click on the link below, go to Stat News and look at the entire video out there. It's a long view, but it's worth it.
Explain for a patient who would be getting gene editing as opposed to an existing drug for ATTR, for the drugs that exist. How different would it be to get this kind of a treatment? Like, what's the process for getting, from a patient perspective, for getting this drug?
Well, the way we've done it thus far, and as the data accumulates, it gives us more and more confidence that we'll keep doing it this way, is that you can take CRISPR, formulate it in an IV bag in something called a lipid nanoparticle, and with a little bit of pre-medication, some steroids and some histamine blockers, put an IV in, and over a couple hours run in the material, and that's it. I mean, literally.
It's not like the gene therapies that we're used to, where you're talking about getting a virus or some kind of a vector that causes all sorts of other sequelae, right? Like it's...
Right. Well, I think it's really important for the audience to understand that there's the nature of the edit, and then there's the delivery modality that, takes it to the patient. So you can choose to deliver with a CRISPR-Cas9 with a virus. Our view, and I think it's the view of many, that that's not the preferred way, because you've got all kinds of issues to deal with in that case: pre-existing immunity, the immunity you raise, the manufacturing of it, how patients respond, their safety issues, et cetera. What we showed was that if you take a chemical approach, in this case, sort of mimicking a very, very specialized fat globule, you could deliver that same editing machinery to, in this case, the liver. And, in the case of amyloidosis from TTR, that gene is expressed in the liver, and that's what causes most of the problem. You could turn that gene off, and that's what we showed.
So what will we learn about this on Monday, not in terms of answers, but questions? I mean, we'll find out. We got that early data that was so promising, that really got the field and investors in not only your company, but other companies in the field very excited that this was possible. What kind of answers should people, what are you promising? That's, I guess, a good way.
Yeah, I mean, I will give you the numbers on Monday, but the sort of categories of questions, I think, fall into the following. Back in June, we showed the drug works, and I think most people accept that. The question is, well, how well can it work? Can you get even more of a knockdown? We showed, just in the second of 4 cohorts, an 87% reduction in the level of circulating protein. So the question is, can you keep going? Lots of people would say, in the case of amyloidosis, the lower you can knock it down, the better it's going to be for patients. So that's one question, and we'll speak to that on Monday. Another question is, what you want to do is have as many people as possible benefit from the therapy. So what's the consistency of the effect? If you give a dose, there's an average, but, are people pretty tight around that number, or are they all over the place? We'll speak to that, and we think that's important as one thinks about clinical trials going forward and how you design them. But another really important question is, well, okay, so you get an effect. Does it stay? How durable is that effect? The theory would be that, and this is what our preclinical data would indicate, that it's potentially lifelong. Now, we're not going to be able to answer lifelong, because we haven't lived lives yet over the course of these particular patients, but we'll speak to the durability question in that presentation to the extent that we have it.
You'll have more data than you did last time.
We'll have more data over a wider range of doses. We'll have the safety data, of course, that goes with that. We'll have the extent of the effect, and then we'll have the durability of the effect, and we'll lay that all out to the extent that we have that information thus far.
Okay, guys, let's get started with the technical analysis. We have here the VXN. I've given you a long-term view, a one-year view, which I usually do. And we can see today's candle, it had spiked up and then it has come down. So each candle is 1 day worth. And as I mentioned earlier, this red line out here, which was a resistance for us earlier, which used to keep the wicks down, has now become a support. So you can see that we have bounced off the support. You'll see this candle has a smaller wick on the bottom and a longer wick on the top. So we went up and then we came down. So right now we are at 34.02. And let's look at the Nasdaq. So Nasdaq is up 3.34%. That is 436 points. This is a very handsome raise. So I'm really not at all regretting having bought a little bit of Tesla the other day because it's kind of dollar cost average me down and it has given the profits now today. I'm still thinking that I might sell what I bought yesterday. And if I get a chance, I might even sell ARC-G and wait for it, because I still think that the overall risks are not yet unwound. This relief rally, I think, has come because of the fact that when the Ukraine tensions ratcheted up and Russia invaded Ukraine, the market began to realize that the Fed probably would not go for a 0.50 basis point hike. And that is what is giving this relief. It's just a matter of time before one of those governors is going to say that no, we still need to go with 0.5, and then we'll be back down again. So the major driver is not Ukraine, Russia. The major driver is the taper and the interest rate hikes and the quantum of interest rate hikes, the frequency of interest rate hikes, and the total. So it could be anywhere between 4 to 5 rate hikes this year. And it could all be 0.25 basis points, or it could be a 0.50 basis point to begin with, and then sitting back for a while and then doing 25 basis point hikes. So overall around 1% to 1.25% interest by the end of the year. So that's the overall layout. And that perception of those things can keep on changing based on various factors. Right now it's advantageous for us. And also I think that algorithms are pushing us up, because if we go to a long-term view of Nasdaq, and if you look at it, you would see that we have dropped significantly, and we have bounced off exactly from the last resistance that we had of let us tab this and see what it was. 12594.54. Exactly, we bounced off that. So it seems very technically perfect. Maybe the algorithms are turned around, and the same algorithms would turn back around once there is any talk of interest rate hikes, which are close to 0.5 basis points. So right now the assumption is it's going to be 0.25. So let's wait and see. That's my approach. And again, this is not financial advice. This is just my opinion. Please do your own due diligence before making any investment decisions. So here again, you will see that we have got the support from the 20-day EMA, and the 9-day EMA is what is constraining the Nasdaq. And if we go to the VXN and we look at the VXN, let us go back to the 1-year view, which is what I'm comfortable with and familiar with. So here we are, and we have the MACD, which is still bullish, but the momentum is falling. So that could indicate that probably we'll be testing this support here. I'm going to turn this into a green color because it's now going to behave as a support. So we're going to test this support again today, and hopefully if we test and we fall down, then what we're going to have is a 9-day EMA, which is going to be the immediate support for the VIX, followed by the 20-day EMA, which will be the next support for VIX. So let us hope and pray that the MACD turns bearish again on VIX, and that could help Nasdaq pretty much in a very positive direction. So that's what I have to say about Nasdaq, and that's what I have to say about the VIX. So yeah, I have a few more things to say. Sorry about that. So if we did fall below this, like the MACD is bearish here, the momentum is picking up. This is what I'm very excited about. The momentum is picking up, so it's going to encourage the MACD to turn around and cross over the signal line and go bullish. But if for some reason we did break down from here, the next minor support is going to be out here, which is at 1222.25. That's where it's going to be. Right now we are at 13473.59. We may be seeming very, very far apart, but in these days of volatility, anything can happen. So I wouldn't discount that. So even though everything is looking rosy right now, I'm going to be very cautious. So after I finish recording this video session, I'm going to go back there and sell off the Tesla that I bought, only the portion that I bought yesterday, because it has got profits. And I'm going to wait for another opportunity to average down the price and buy again. So that's my strategy, and I'm going to double down on that. Let's go on to our biotech. Here we go, and I'm going to sort this as usual. So right now we have all the, okay, I can see that you are not able to see the shares out here. So what I'm going to do is, please hold on, I'm going to adjust this. Okay, so now I think you can all see the pricing here. Yesterday's video, it was not clear. I noticed it after upload. So hopefully I'll maintain these settings, and going forward, make sure that you can see the price pay note on the right side here. So we have Novartis, Pfizer, the usual suspects at the top. I'm going to ignore them for now because there is no story out there for us. Teladoc is looking good at 1.03. Let's go and quickly have a look at Teladoc. So in the long-term vision, this is a 1-year view, and each candle is a daily candle. So right now our daily candle is up here. It's being supported by the 9-day EMA, which happens to be at 68.72. We are right now at 69.34. So there is a level of support out there. And our MACD is just about crossing over to the signal line, and the momentum is picking up. If I go to a 1-day view and look at the same chart, where each of those candles are going to be 1 minute. Okay, so here we are. So you can already see that the MACD is bullish and the momentum is coming down, and the MACD is traveling towards the signal line. So this could be a fake out here. And I think that we would be lucky if we stay positive with Teladoc by the end of the day. Because if you go to the daily chart, it doesn't look that encouraging. Now let's go to the 1-month chart and see what the MACD and the RSI are doing out there. So the MACD is bullish, and here you can see that the RSI has gone into the overbought situation. So the RSI is going to temper down. That's what we are seeing in the daily time span, and it's going to come down. So maybe Teladoc will move sideways today and end up positive. That's my conclusion, looking at all these various time frames and looking at all the various MACD configurations. Let's go on to Illumina, which is up 1.1%. And you can see that we have a support from all the 4 exponential moving average. And the most active support right now happens to be the 100-day EMA, which stands at 324.45. We are at 326.75. Our MACD is looking great, and momentum is already going very close towards overbought situations. So if we go to our 1-day chart, let's go to our 1-day chart and have a look at it. You can see that the momentum is starting to taper down. It's going a bit flat. So Illumina is going to look good today. It may probably move sideways, probably end up with a gain of $2.5 by the end of the day. So that's my thoughts about Illumina. Let us look at Editas. So we're going to have a good news release tomorrow regarding the data. So we should see that as a potential catalyst. However, today the stock is moved down by 0.6%, minus 0.6%, and that means around 11 cents down. So let me go back to the long-term view. This is a 1-year view, and you can see that we are firmly within the bearish downwards channel, and we are being constrained by the 9-day EMA, which is this yellow line, followed by the 20-day EMA, the 50-day EMA, and the 100-day EMA. So all of these exponential moving averages are constraining our price action out here. And right now we are at 15.73, whereas our 9-day EMA is at 15.83. So that is the situation we have here. And when we look at our MACD, it's almost flat, moving along with the signal line. Momentum is also flat. So Editas is not looking great right now. But again, if the market sentiment keeps on moving in this direction of being positive, and the VXN comes down, Editas would continue to gather positive gains. And also in anticipation of some good news tomorrow, we could see some gains in Editas today. So let's look at Regeneron. It's up 0.57%. And if we look at the MACD, it is flat, and the momentum is picking up. So that is encouraging, but it's still below average momentum right now. And if we were to expand this line, which I have here, which was a support for us for the longest time. So we have broken below that. So now I'm going to make this into a red line because this is going to act as a resistance as we keep on coming up. So we have had a support which was at 610.88. We are now at 612.13. So I'm not going to change that into a resistance. I'm going to let it be support. It gives me some amount of happiness, and it's like a willpower wishing that we stay above that. So that's what I'm going to do for Regeneron today. And I hope that it stays above this support today. If I look at the MACD again, as I said before, it's not looking great. It's bearish. You can see the histogram lines. They were dark red and now they're pinkish. So it's tending towards the signal line, but still it has not done so. But because the momentum is picking up here, I would assume that it may go in that direction. Remember, all these candles are daily candles. But if we go back to the one-day view, then you'll see a slightly different story. We are close to overbought on the RSI. We are at the very top, so there is a need for moderation out there. That's what is likely to push this bullish MACD closer towards the signal line and make it cross over. So let's hope for the best today. We have a handsome gain right now, and hopefully we stay positive. Vertex is down almost 0.001%. That's around 10 cents. As I mentioned earlier, I'm quite bullish on Vertex. Let us go on to the long-term view and look at what is happening there. In the short-term, MACD is turning bearish. In the long term, it's already bearish, but tending towards the signal line, because you can see the color of the histogram getting lighter. So that's what it means. And our RSI is also flat. So I would be glad if we stay above this support line, which we have got here at 226.21, which is a support. And we stay above that, then that would be good. I'm also going to look at the exponential moving averages. So we have a support from our 50-day exponential moving average, which is this green line, whereas the other two moving averages are going to be resistances that would happen to trigger in before 234.58, which is the horizontal resistance, is reached. So we have got a whole lot of headwinds. We got a bad indicators out here. So it's not looking good for Vertex. But I'm hopeful that given the overall positive market sentiments, if we stay positive today, that will be a plus. But I suppose that by the end of the day, Vertex will most probably end up negative or flat. So let's go on to IMTX. And again, we are looking at daily candles here. This is a long-term chart. We are down 7 cents. If you look at the candle, each of these candles is a one-day candle. We opened up higher, then we got pushed down by this 9-day EMA, and that's how we have come down. And we are trying to push back up again. The momentum which was at the rock bottom is trying to push up. MACD is trying to cross towards the signal line. And we have this earlier support here. We are likely to break up over that, because when it comes to MACD, we don't bounce under it. We just try to break through and go above. It's just seen as a signal line below which we are not likely to go based on past performances, but it doesn't act as a resistance, in my opinion, when it comes to the MACD. So we are going to go up that today. Let us go for the next script, which is Bluebird. We are down minus 0.6%. And in terms of our earnings, we are expecting it today, probably after the market close. So let us see if it happens to be a catalyst. But right now we are constrained by the 9-day EMA. MACD is looking bad. And also the RSI is not looking great. If we go to the one-day view and see what is happening out there, again, here also we are totally bearish. So I'll go on and move on to Beam Therapeutics, which is down minus 2.4%. And we can see that our 9-day EMA is being the support out here, and our 20-day EMA is being a resistance out here. And we have a bearish MACD, and we have a falling momentum out here. And if we go on to our 1-year time frame and look at the daily candles, so in a long-term time frame, we are kind of bullish, but tending towards the signal line, as you can see by the color of the lines on the histogram. So that's not a good thing. And also the momentum is turning downwards. That's also not a good thing. So Beam is not looking good overall. ARCG is down minus 0.3%. That's around 16 cents. But as you can see in the daily candle today, we are being pushed down by the 9-day EMA. So I'm just going to expand this a little for you so that you can see. We opened up higher, we came down, and we are forming a doji candle out here where there are wicks on two sides and a thick body in the center. That shows a kind of indecisions with the market of what to do with ARCG, given that it has got a whole lot of stocks in its portfolio. The indecision is expected. But the fact that the wick on the top is not as long indicates to me that the market is more pessimistic than optimistic when it comes to ARCG. Now let's look at CRISPR. CRISPR is down minus 0.5%, that's around 30 cents. And we have a wick out here which is being pushed down. This candle is being pushed down by the 9-day EMA. And we have a MACD which was showing some bullish deviation. Now that is being taken off because we got the bullish push upward with this particular candle out here, and the deviation no longer exists. So I'm going to take this out from here so that our chart looks clean. So we already reaped the benefits of the bullish deviation, and we are already up here. Now it's a different story altogether. I think based on what I see in the MACD here and at the weak momentum, CRISPR is not doing great today. It will be lucky to end up flat or slightly negative. PSEB is up 0.36%. That's around 4 cents. And if I look at the chart out here, I see that it's being supported by the 9-day EMA right now. Volumes so far are less because it's rather early in the day. It's around 10 o'clock in the morning. The MACD is bullish and the momentum is flat. So overall, I'm thinking that PSEB should be able to maintain its positive gains today, provided the market sentiment remains positive. If the VXN turns around, then we can very quickly see all these positive gains dissipate. We should remember it's a volatile market. Intellia is up 2.9%, and we have had the earnings come up for Intellia. And as I mentioned in the earlier videos, the earnings surprise got a bit of a boost for the stock, but now we are back again. We opened up higher and we are pushing downwards. We started a bit lower in the morning, but we moved up again. We were starting below the closing of yesterday, but we moved up again. And right now we are above our earlier resistance, which stood at 88.65, and I'm going to convert that into a support for us out here. So this is a positive movement for Intellia, and our 20-day EMA is going to be the next resistance. The MACD is moving towards a signal line, which is a good positive, and the momentum is also picking up, as I can see here. Both of those things, along with the positive sentiment of the market, makes me feel that Intellia will end up the day positive. Allogene is down minus 3.7%. Again, we are in a volatile market. Anything can happen. We are flat with the MACD and we are flat with the momentum. So it's not looking good. We have a constraining 9-day EMA followed by 20-day EMA. And between that, you have a horizontal resistance of $9.93, which is this red line here. So it's not looking good for Allogene. Caribou Biosciences is down minus 2.8%. And the MACD is bearish and the momentum is also dropping, so it's not looking good. Maybe the earnings, which is coming up on 2nd of March, will be a catalyst. Let's wait and see what happens there. Verve Therapeutics is down minus 2.5%. That's around 75 cents. Again, hopefully the earnings coming up shortly next week should be a catalyst for it. The MACD is slightly bullish, but we have the support from the 9-day EMA, whereas the 20-day EMA is both the 9-day and the 20-day EMA out here are turning to be resistance for us because we are broken down below it. We are at 28.25, whereas the 9-day EMA is at 28.46. So that's not good. So overall, a very bad day for Verve Therapeutics. So I have finished my technical analysis very early for the day. So overall, my summary for the day is that the gains are there, but they are like vaporware and they can evaporate anytime. And I, for one, am going to take my profits wherever I can and wait in the sidelines because, in my mind, the main risks are the interest rate hike and the labor shortage, the high oil price. Those are the things that are a concern for the economy. And the Ukraine thing was a bit of a head fake for a while, but the invasion has happened. And there is a lot more bad things that can happen in that area and pull us down again. And if the bad things did not happen and things tapered off in the Ukraine side, still our focus should remain on the interest rate hikes, the inflation numbers, and the upcoming midterm elections in the United States, which is going to be fraught with a lot of risk. The truckers' strike, which is starting off in California, and it's going to wind up in Washington in next week or so. So it's all looking pretty bad from a political point of view in US. And since all our stocks are based in US and the reserve currency is the US dollar, so I'm looking forward. I'm not looking forward positively, but I'm looking ahead with apprehension on the upcoming events of the truckers' strike out there, truckers' convoy coming to Washington, and the midterm elections. So you guys, please keep a watch on those things also. And I'm going to stay on the sidelines to watch how things unfold. I'm going to take profits wherever I can, keep the cash and wait in the sidelines, and then pick it up when the stock prices are much down. And my strategy again is to ride the big guys like Apple, Microsoft, Google, and all those kinds. And as soon as I get gains there, I'm going to take out the profit from there, keep the holdings intact, and use the profit to invest in CRISPR, which will be on its way up at that point of time. So that's my strategy. And among CRISPR, my top targets are going to be CRISPR Therapeutics, ARC-G, and I'm also going to look at Editas and Intellia. So these are the targets for me. I hope you liked this video. Please put a like out there so that it's shown on the feeds for many other people and they can start watching our videos. And if you are here for a long time watching our videos, please consider subscribing. It's absolutely free and it will help us. And also, if you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing. We are trying to go towards the 200 number. We are already at close to 180 right now. We are at 179, just waiting to go ahead. Thanks for all your support. Have a great day. See you next. Bye for now.